Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Um Now, my topic is on pesticides, crop protection, need, challenges, and prospects. And this is the order of my presentation. I'll start with pest and pesticides, pesticide usage in Sri Lanka, pesticide residues in food, control of pesticide Act, pest management for green agriculture, our vision. We all know plants and the associated organisms. They have been living more than 300 million years on this planet. And we are the newcomers to associate with plants. So if you are going to manage the associated organisms like pests, diseases, and so on and so forth, we have to live in harmony with the crop plants. That is the theme of this presentation. How to live in harmony with the pests, the so-called pest diseases, and so on and so forth. Now, sometimes the word pesticides not being used very often now. I don't know why. So in some places I see agrochemicals instead of pesticides. And pesticides are classified according to the target organism, like insecticides, miticides, nematicides, fungicides, herbicides, and so on and so forth. And pesticides also categorized based on their chemistry. There are inorganic pesticides. There are two groups, natural ones and synthetic ones. Natural ones, the most famous one is diatom. I think you all know what diatom is. It's a very safe pesticide. It's a natural one. And also there are synthetic inorganic ones like sulfur, copper, so on and so forth. And then it comes to organic pesticide. There are two types. Actually, organic means these molecules, these compounds have carbon in it. Carbon, that's why we call organic. There are natural organic compounds like plant extracts, like neem, and there are synthetic ones like the ones that you always talk about, DDT, delta methane, and so on and so forth. Those are one group of pesticides that we talk on. And there's another aspect of pesticides. They are biological material. Sometimes we call them biopesticides or biocontrol agents. There are many types of biopesticides. One microbial, like there are fungi, bacteria, virus that could be used in crop protection. And also there are insects like trichogoma, and also there are predators that can feed on the pest that we are concerned of. My next slide is on the volume of pesticide that we imported to Sri Lanka. And these figures are last year figures. We import technical material to formulate pesticide in Sri Lanka. That's not a big quantity, a small quantity. And all these values are given in tons. And most of the pesticide we import as formulated products. In formulated products is only for pre-packing or immediately for marketing. And the total value, total value that annual value that we spend on importation is about 8 billion rupees, 8 billion Sri Lankan rupees. And maybe this value will be, actually we cannot gauge anything from this value unless we look at the other countries. Now look, China. China, annual consumption of pesticides in tons per year, that's tons. These values are not the weight of the total pesticide, but only the active ingredient, about 1.7 million. And if we divide this amount by the cultivated extent, it comes to 13.1 kilograms per hectare. 13.1 kilograms per hectare. That's the China. Their agriculture, for agriculture, they use this much of active ingredients per hectare. Now, we don't want to waste our time. Just go to the bottom of the table. Very poor Sri Lanka, because we use only 0.7 kilograms, that's 700 kilograms per hectare per year, active ingredients. Now, look at these values, and you can decide from which country you are going to import your food next time. If there is a shortage of food, are you going to import from China or from Malaysia for that matter, or India? That's up to you to make a decision. And these values given in two graphs. Now look at these values given from 2010 to 2018, and Sri Lanka is at the bottom compared to other countries in Asian region. And look at this. This is in the Western region, and Australia is the extreme end. They use less pesticides than other countries. And we all know that pesticides are classified according to WHO toxic levels into 4 classes. Class 1 is highly toxic, 2 also toxic, 3 less toxic, and least toxic compounds. And you might see when you go to buy pesticides from the market, the label, all labels, there are red labels indicating they are highly toxic, and green labels are less toxic. And look at these figures. Now, from 1985 to 2020, the number of pesticides recommended decreased in a reverse order, that is less number of red labels and more number of green labels. It indicates there's a very big development in pesticide recommendation usage in the world. And we should not think the same, should not use the same scale when it comes to pesticides. Now in Sri Lanka, look at this. These values are this year's recommended values. We have more green label pesticides, insecticides, fungicides, and herbicides. Only some insecticides are yellow label, but mostly they are blue or green label. Now, the Department of Agriculture has conducted some residue analysis. This is very sensitive issue in Sri Lanka, that people say that most of the food items that we eat contain a lot of pesticide residues. And the Department of Agriculture, Register of Pesticide, have tested a lot of samples, some from commodities taken from meant for export, and some local. And from 2016 to 2018 and up to 2020, all the percentage samples exceeding MR levels are given here. And you can see in the local market in 2018, 2020, not a single sample found to exceed MRL level. So this is a very good indication of the department and the farmers' attitude towards using less toxic pesticides and at correct way. And also, the department has tested 57 samples for 12 insecticides. These samples you only read are from local ones, and in imported perishable goods in blue bars. And if you can compare it here, and you will see for some chemicals, the imported ones contain more pesticide residues than the local ones. So this is a good eye opener for you to think about the imported pesticides. And now, as a summary, out of the 90 samples tested, 30 samples were contaminated with pesticides, and the results of the study revealed that tebuconazole has a higher possibility of contamination. So the department is making effort to educate farmers, this is a fungicide, to how to use it properly and follow the pre-harvest intervals. Now, when it comes to rice, we know the rice doesn't contain any pesticide residue unless somebody had any chemical to your hull. But we are concerned about the heavy metals. And the department has tested about 68 traditional varieties, or total of 68 samples containing traditional, improved rice varieties, and found that 98% they have the arsenic, cadmium, lead, and mercury and selenium content is less than the total daily intake. So they are suitable for human consumption. That holds true with 88% of rice in terms of lead. So we need not go into phobia about pesticides. Now, the most distressing information is nothing about pesticide, but if we are going to ban all pesticide, what will be the scenario? Now the second column indicates our total extent. We about 1.1 million hectares, and our production is about 6 million tons. And the losses, expected losses, if no herbicide, no insecticide, no fungicide indicated there, and the net production output will be about 3.5 million. So what will be the results? We will lose 2.5 million metric tons of food, and we have to import. And also, due to COVID situation, from where we are going to import this much of food to feed our nation. Okay. And to make this presentation complete, I need to mention about the act that controls pesticide regulations, all pesticides. And this act will guide licensing of pesticides, regulating imports, packing, labeling, storage, formulation, transport, sales and use, disposal of expired products, and so on and so forth. And there is a licensing authority for pesticide in Sri Lanka, and also pesticide technical advisory committee for final decisions. And not only that, we are ahead of other countries, especially Asian countries, in terms of pesticide recommendation. We have banned all POP compounds, even prior to the decision made by Stockholm Convention. I think you must be knowing what POP, it entails persistent organic pollutants. And also we have banned many of the compounds. Even India still some use 23 active molecules. They are using it, and we don't use those chemicals. And also we are a partner of the Rotterdam Convention, that is PIC, and the Rotterdam Convention has listed 33 hazardous pesticides, and Sri Lanka use only 2, like monocotophos and thiram. Monocotophos is a restricted insecticide used only for coconut. We will control. And I also should mention that the Director General Agriculture and the Division of Pesticide, they do their best to make the pesticide control in a orderly manner. And now what is the most difficult thing or important thing is irrational use of pesticide in the field. We have observed it. This is due to many reasons. One is risk. Farmers do not want to follow any risk. So we are risk averters and uncertainty of present agriculture, which needs to be addressed to solve the issue. So we have to educate farmers, strengthen farmers if we want to make use of pesticide in a logical way, in a holistic way, in a safer way, so that we can give the consumers safer, residue-free food. As I mentioned earlier, actually pest management, many of us think the chemical is the only solution for pest management. No, pest management is a complex, it's a labyrinth components. There's a biological control system, there are cultural, microbial, mechanical control, behavioral, many things. So farmers need to be educated with all these. Even now at the present, the Department of Agriculture and other institutes, they have very good programs, integrated programs called integrated pest management, where we are teaching farmers about all these components in managing pests. So for pest management, what we have to do is enhance IPM tools, that is ecological engineering. There are very good techniques, and pest surveillance. We need to do a very good pest surveillance system, island-wide pest surveillance system, and forecasting. Actually, the unfortunate thing is we don't have much staff to undertake all these, our vision, and strengthen farmers' decision making on pest management. Introduce professional spray operators. This is one of the major requirement, because farmers are very old and also the sprayers very old. So we need to somehow initiate a program to establish licensed spray operators, so that the spraying will be done in a professional way. And also we need to promote locally produced organic pesticide. That's another area. And most important thing is we need to master natural enemies like parasitoids, predators. That in other countries they do it. There are institutes, there are private organizations where they mass produce these natural enemies, we call natural enemies, and market them. This is one of the easiest and best way of controlling pests. We need to uh, get used to this, because this is very new to us. Not really new, because we use natural biological control, but we have to do it in a large scale method. So I think the government will take it as a important message. And also about importing professionals. Actually, we don't promote microbial products contain microbes for foreign origin, because long-term environmental impact are unknown. So therefore we discourage all the pest specialists in the country, discourage is importing biocontrol agents without proper evaluation. So this is a dream. Having small insects like parasites or predators in small vials, you go to the field and open the bottle and release them into the field. This is just like spraying chemicals. Some of the parasitoids that we use in Sri Lanka, this leaf miner is a serious pest. It was a serious pest now, but we don't have. And papaya, mealybug, I think you must be knowing. And our challenge, feed the nation with healthy food. Limitation of arable, we are limited with arable land, and pest disease, weed problems are there. We have to live with them. And workforce, many old farmers, they don't cultivate, they don't want to be in the business in another 2-3 years time. So we need to have a new generation of farmers, and our food habits also changing. We have to find answers to that, and global warming. What I'm telling about this is, now we are living with pests, and we don't know tomorrow what pest will come. Like fall armyworm, we had a very bad experience, and we don't know what will happen if the desert locusts come to Sri Lanka. It is in India. It might fly to Sri Lanka to see this country, to have a visit. And finally, our direction should be strengthen the farmers, intensify safer, environment-friendly management tools, empower farmers for decision making, strengthening regulatory environment. So we need to prepare a roadmap with strong monitoring and evaluation mechanism, and should be addressed to the risk faced by farmers through insurance or marketing, etc. Thank you very much. My appeal, professionals, let us unite. Thank you very much. Again, everybody.